Shavu Tov, everyone. Welcome to Tillis Tell Stories for Saturday night. The title of this week's video is Kaddish with Oprah Winfrey. I adapted it from the book Living Kaddish, Incredible and Inspiring Stories, Targum Press. I submitted an email by Gregory Bernhardt of New York City. Simcha Jacobovici is a Canadian-Israeli journalist and documentary filmmaker, born in 1953. Although he lives in Toronto, as a filmmaker, he's on the road a lot. One day in 1995, when he was in the midst of his year of saying Kaddish for his late father Joseph, of blessed memory, the phone rang in his New York hotel room. During the 11 months of saying Kaddish, he had ended up in various minyans from San Francisco to Halifax. Once during an extended stopover in Detroit, he rushed to the basement of an old shul where, quote, I was greeted by 9 octogenarians as if I was the Messiah himself, end quote. Nevertheless, the phone call in New York was the start of what turned out to be perhaps the most interesting Kaddish experience of them all. It was a year after he released a documentary film called The Selling of Innocence. The film had won an Emmy Award, attracting the attention of Oprah Winfrey, an American icon and celebrated television host. On the other end of the telephone line was one of her producers, named Lisa, who asked if he could fly to Chicago and appear on the Oprah show the day after next. He was taken aback. This was the Oprah show, the big time. It could be great publicity for his film and great promotion for him and his company. I'd love to do it, he said, but I don't think I can. Why not, the producer asked, her voice betraying her surprise. Nobody says too busy to the Oprah show. When he answered that he had a problem with it, Lisa's voice became steely. What is the problem, she asked. All business? It's complicated. Try me, she quickly replied. Thus was inaugurated the process of explaining to a non-Jewish television producer from Chicago about the Jewish recital of Kaddish. Simcha confesses that whenever he had to explain this, no one ever quite got it. He would tell them that he needed a minyan in a synagogue, and they would drive him to an empty shul. It never quite worked out. But this was the Oprah TV show, so he felt he had to give it a try. I'm Jewish, he began. My father passed away a few months ago. In our religion, it is incumbent on me 3 times a day, every day for a year, starting with the day of burial, to say a certain prayer. It's called Mourner's Kaddish. It's actually a glorification of God's name, not at all sad. To do this, I need to be in a Jewish quorum. It's called a minyan. So I can't miss this obligation. If I come to Chicago, I must be able to attend an early morning service prior to being on the show. No problem, she said confidently. You need a minyan to say Kaddish. 10 Jewish men, morning services. I'll arrange it. It's not so simple, he exclaimed, and then explained. You may find a synagogue, but if it does not have a minyan in the morning, then it doesn't help. Or the Jewish community might send you to a synagogue that's non-traditional, which wouldn't do the trick for me. Lisa tried to be patient. Stop worrying. I will take care of it. I'll fax your flight information to your hotel. You will be met in Chicago by a limousine. The driver will have the minyan information. You will say Kaddish for your father. The rest unfolded like a military operation, much to Simcha's amazement and delight. The next day, the ticket came. Then the limo came. Then the driver took him to a hotel and said, I'll be here at 6:30 a.m. Your minyan begins at 7 a.m. I'll pick you up at 8 a.m. You'll be at the Oprah show by 8:30 a.m. The hotel room was wonderful. I slept like a baby. At 6:30 in the morning, I came down and stepped into my limo. There was a newspaper on the seat. I could get used to this, he thought. The driver pulled up in front of a downtown office building and announced that there was a Chabad Lubavitch minyan on one of the upper floors. When he found the room and entered, the rabbi glanced up at him and commented with a smile. So you're the guy that has to say Kaddish. I was warned by the Oprah show that I'd better have a minyan. Simcha smiled back. He couldn't stop thinking about how impressed he was with Lisa and Oprah. He also felt that his father, of blessed memory, was surely amused. After the minyan, the driver took me back to the Oprah show. I was met by a black woman in her 30s. She got straight to the point. I'm Lisa. You had a minyan? Yes, thank you. Was it proper, she asked next. Yes, Chabad is 100%. Did you say Kaddish? Absolutely. Couldn't have worked out better, he answered. She looked at him with, to quote him, that look that star surgeons have when they come out of an operating room, or maybe it's the look that battle commanders have when they're coming back from a military operation. It's a look that says, nothing is too complicated for me. So Simcha Jacobovici was on mainstream television with Oprah. He found her to be very professional and helpful. He recollects, I had my 5 minutes of fame, but what really sticks out in my mind about that day is the Kaddish arrangements. Baruch Hashem, praised be God. I chose this story because this week was the yortzeit of my mother, Ella ben Eliyahu Halevi. Of course, as I live in Tzfat, in the holy city of Safed with its 40 or so shuls, I managed without a producer. Shavua Tov and Chodesh Tov.